Kabelo. My project is about my South African tribe. I am interviewing my mom and dad. I chose South Africa because I was born there. That's what makes my tribe unique. Hi, I am sitting here with my mom and dad interviewing them about my tribe. What is the name of your tribe and where does it come from?
Our tribe is called the South African tribe. We come from the southern tip of Africa, and we are made up of many different kinds of people. We are also called the Rainbow Nation.
How did you become a member of the tribe?
I was born in Southern Africa.
And I moved to South Africa as a young man, and I stayed there for a long time. And then I met your mommy and asked her to marry me. And I asked if I could become a member of the tribe, and they said yes. And I had to pay 5 cows so I could become a member of mommy's family.
Does your tribe have its own language?
Yes, we do. We actually have 11 official languages in Southern Africa. The ones that are used mainly for communicating are called English and Afrikaans. And then I speak 7 of those official languages. I speak English, I speak Afrikaans, I speak my mother's tongue, Venda, Setswana, Zulu, and I speak Sesotho, and I speak Xhosa.
How does it bring you together as a group?
Well, because we have different languages, it's not really the language itself that brings us together, but people speak a couple of languages all over the place. So even somebody who speaks Zulu will probably speak another couple of languages. So the thing that brings everybody together is learning each other's languages, like your mommy just said. So people make an effort to learn how to speak each other's languages, and they're happy to do it because they're also African.
Does your tribe eat any special food or wear any special clothing?
Yes, we do. We have a lot of food that we eat in South Africa, and each sub-tribe has their own dish that they specialize in. Like the Venda tribe, they eat what they call mopani worms. They're kind of like caterpillars, black and white caterpillars, and then they eat those with cornmeal, they call it here, but we call it bohove. And then we have another tribe called the Xhosa tribe, which is which they eat samp and beans. And samp is made out of what?
Corn.
Samp is also made out of dry corn that's been sitting for a long time, so it's dried out, so it takes a long time to cook. And then Ted can add the other kind of food we eat.
Well, I mean, South Africa has a lot of people who come from different parts of the world. So, for example, in Durban, in KwaZulu-Natal, people like curry because there are a lot of people who came from India who live there. And in Cape Town, the Western Cape, people also like different kinds of curries because they also came from the Far East and that sort of thing, from Malaysia and Indonesia, and so those kind of foods are still popular. People still like those kind of foods. And then, of course, the Afrikaner people have their kinds of foods, and they like things like boerewors, it's a kind of a sausage.
It's a biltong.
And yeah, they like dried meat. Yeah. And lots of people have different kinds of things, but the thing I think that is common about all the different kinds of food is that it's stuff that comes from long ago traditions and how they lived. Like the Afrikaners, they grew up basically herding cattle and being farmers, and so they eat things that are, you know, that farmers would eat. It's the same with the Zulus and the Swanas and everybody. So basically the traditional foods come from the kind of history that the people have. And clothing is also, you know, something that people have. You know, each subgroup in South Africa has its own kind of clothing. And some of them are very fancy, the kind of things that people wear for weddings and special events. I mean, Mommy has a special Venda outfit that she wore when we got married, for example. And then there are other kinds of clothes that are not really traditional, but they're kind of the things that people prefer. So you find that some people prefer a certain kind of shirts and shorts that they wear, the farmers, because it's good for the life that they lead and that sort of thing. And those are also traditional.
They're comfortable. And, you know.
So, like for example, people make shoes out of skins, out of animal skins. They call them velskoens. It means skin shoe, and people wear those, and they've been wearing them since hundreds of years ago. So it's a lot of the clothing comes from traditions that also go back as far as the food.
What can I add with the clothing part of it? I think your father has explained most of it, and
Well, one thing we can say is people don't walk around every day in South Africa looking like the kind of stuff that you see on movies or, you know, like Tarzan or something. People, you know, normally they dress just like we do in America. They wear the same kind of clothing that we wear here. But, you know, there are certain traditional kinds of clothing that people wear on special occasions. And also there are things that certain people wear every day that are maybe a little bit different because the climate's different and things like that. But it's not like people wear this stuff, you know, fancy, crazy stuff every day. Right, Mommy?
yeah, you're right. Yeah. We do more or less wear clothes like they do in the United States, like your father said. We don't walk around with cow skin wrapped around our waist.
Sometimes
So,
the president does that when he's trying to show off.
Yeah, well, that's that.
Does your tribe have any special traditions?
Yes, we do have special traditions actually. Like for instance, when a baby is born, after a baby is born, when they left the hospital, they will come home. The baby and mother has to stay inside the house for 3 months. They're not allowed to go outside. While the baby is growing, the only guests that are allowed at the house will be only the family members, no relatives, nobody else. And when relatives come into the house, they have to leave their shoes by the door. So not to, they say, "Ohatangwana." That means that if people walk in the house with their shoes, they're bringing germs into the house, and that's not good for the baby. And then there's also a black ashes that are mixed with water. They put it on top of the baby's scalp, and they're saying that will help the baby's head to be strong and grow and to help the baby grow strong too. So after a period of 3 months, what happens is that there will be a big celebration. That's what our tribe are good at. They love to celebrate. There will be a big celebration where everybody is invited, the community, neighbors, all the relatives. They'll be invited to come over and celebrate, welcoming the mother and the baby. And then that will be the first time when the baby comes out of the house. The other celebration the other tradition that we have is the funeral. When there's death in the family, the house, the windows of the house have to be painted with, using ashes. By putting ashes on the window, it's a sign to tell people that we are in mourning, we have death in the family, and so people passing by with cars, they have, if the music is loud, they have to turn the music down a little bit. And then if people are talking loud, passing the street, they will look at the house and they will see ashes on the windows. So they would decide, they would start not talking loud. The other thing we do is that the body, the day before the funeral, the body is brought into the house. But there's a rule. The body has to be brought in before the sun set. If the body is brought in at the house after sunset by the funeral undertaker, it has to be sent back. It is regarded as bad luck. So after that, the body will be brought in before 5:30 sunset time, and the body will be kept in the house until the following morning when it's time for funeral. And then I'll give you an example. Let's say that the death in the family is it's a child, or it's a dad, what happened is that the mother has to stay on the mattress. What they do is that in her bedroom they'll remove the bed, all the bed frames, everything else, and she has to sit down on the mattress for the whole week or until the day of the funeral. That's when she's allowed to leave the house and then to go and bury her beloved one. Um, Also, what happens is that when we come back from the graveyard, everybody else, before they enter the yard, there will be big buckets of water by the gate. So what you do is that before you enter, you have to wash your hands. That is also regarded as, if you don't wash your hands, you bring in bad luck inside the house. So that is not allowed. And also, by washing the hands, you also saying goodbye, like, we're washing these hands, but we said goodbye to this person, and then we accepted what has been done. And after you wash your hands, there's also another. After you wash your hands, there'll be a normally there'll be an aunt or uncle of the family who will have a broom. Um, it's in the house. We'll try to get it later. They will have a broom where they'll have a bucket of water that's mixed with ashes. As you can see, that we use ashes a lot of time when we in our tradition. It'll be, so she would put the broom inside the water with ashes, and then she would sprinkle it on every guest that came to the funeral, sprinkle on their face. Also to just say, we washed you, we cleansing you from from the grave, the dust from the grave and everything else. And after the burial, the mother, especially women's in the tribe, they'll have, like, if it's my mom, she has to wear a black dress for a period of 3 months again. Um, I still have to ask my parents, why do it's always 3 months? The baby has to sit in for 3 months, and then you have to wear a black dress for 3 months. But to say it's been the tradition, the South African tradition, for ages and ages. So that's how we mourn too. So after 3 months, again, there'll be a big celebration where everybody comes over, and then we slaughter cows, goats, and then there'll be blood spilled. They say that's for the ancestors. After that, my mother will take off her black dress and everything else, and and then she'll live a normal life again. And then also, the other tradition we have is weddings. When there is a wedding, it's big. And then when we do our weddings, you don't even bother sending invitations. You don't even bother finding the caterers and say, okay, our wedding there'll be 30 people. No, you just send out a word. Everybody else comes when there's funerals. It's always big celebrations, and we really dress fancy. This is where we'll wear our traditional clothes, which we will show you later. And then cows are slaughtered, goats. There's lots of food cooked, and then we use this. The women will cook in big pots with 3 legs on the fire. We do not cook on the stoves when there's weddings like that. So there'll be the pots I will show also later. It's called 3 foot. 3 means 3. That's in Afrikaans. Foot means feet. So so there'll be lots of food that everybody else eat, and there's always music. Be loud music, traditional music. Families, relatives are invited, and and we eat. We love to eat. That we love to cook as South Africans, and we love to eat.
Daddy, does your tribe have any celebration?
Yeah, we sure do. In fact, South Africa has probably the most public holidays of any country I've ever been in. We have lots of public holidays, and we like to celebrate. And the thing is, a lot of our celebrations are the same as other people's, like we have Easter and Christmas and all that. But then we have our own special holidays. And one of them is Freedom Day. That's April 27th, and that's the day that South Africa became a free democratic country back in 1994. It's kind of like 4th of July for Americans. It's our Freedom Day. It's the day that everybody went to vote for the first time. And it's a big deal because it's something that is important to all South Africans. Another day that's important where people do a lot of celebrating is Youth Day, which is June 16th. And Youth Day is the day that the youth of a place called Soweto around Johannesburg basically had enough, and they decided to show the old government that they weren't happy, and they started fighting back against apartheid. And to this day, people still take that as a very serious holiday because some people did lose their lives on that day a long time ago. And they, we honor them on that day. And then another holiday that we have that has some history is one that we call the Day of Reconciliation, which I think is December 16th. Some people call it the Day of the Bow. That's what the Afrikaners call it, or Dingaan's Day. And basically that is an old holiday that goes back to the days when the Afrikaners were when they tried to live in what's now the province of KwaZulu, down where the Zulu people live. And they had a fight with the Zulus. And that fight that they had, the Afrikaners, they got out of it. And so they swore to God that if they got out of that fight okay, that they would always, every year, make a sacrifice or say thank you. And they continue to do that. And the people of South Africa today take that holiday as the day when everybody in South Africa celebrates being together, blacks, whites, everybody. We also have Women's Day, which is an important day, basically to celebrate women. It's a holiday that we don't have in the United States. And as I said, South Africans also celebrate some of the other holidays that everybody else does, like New Year's Day. But the thing that is interesting about New Year's is that in Cape Town, where our house is, people celebrate on January 2nd too. It's what's called Tweede Nuwe Jaar, which means Second New Year. And it's an old tradition that goes back hundreds of years, and basically what it is that most people have their fun on the 1st, but the working people, the people who tended to do a lot of they would serve the people who were partying on the 1st, they would have their party on the 2nd. And so if you live in Cape Town, basically you get 2 New Year's days, and you get 2 days off. And I think that covers most of the major holidays that we have. But South Africans are always ready for a celebration. And people will celebrate, for example, if there's a big sports match, particularly if some of the big teams are playing each other, like the soccer, like when Pirates play the Chiefs. People will go out in the streets and they'll party and they'll eat and they'll drink and they'll wave flags and all kinds of things. But South Africans like to go out into the street and do a lot of public noise making and partying. It's probably a lot more than the United States, I think. And it's one of the nice things about living there is people feel free to be able to say, hey, we're having fun, we want to party. So, yeah.
This is a wooden giraffe. And
Where did you get it, Kabelo? Where did it come from?
South Africa.
Oh, yeah, cool.
This is a guinea fowl. And I guess I got it from South Africa too. This is a broom made out of straw.
What do you do with it?
You sweep stuff with it.
Cool.
These are maracas. They have little paintings on them. This one has a frog on it.
How do they work?
This one has an owl. You do this.
Okay, what else you got?
These are spoons, wooden spoons. Use them to cook like with big pots and soups and stuff.
You mean like that pot back there?
Yeah.
What's that pot called?
A three-legged pot.
A 3-legged pot. And I see you've got some small ones as well, right?
Yeah.
Hold them up to the camera and show us what they look like. Cool. Little three-legged pots. Okay, what about those trees there? What are those? Those trees? Oh, you can say off camera. Kabelo, what are those little funny trees about?
These are called baobab trees.
Yeah, those are baobab trees. They have big, huge stems and nobody can climb up the trees. And they make beautiful fruit that we call moyo, M-O-Y-O. And with those fruit, you mix the fruit with milk and you stir it and you can get yogurt out of it.
Kabelo, do you know why those trees look like that?
Well, no, I don't.
There was a story back in Africa they used to tell us that said that God got angry with the trees and said, okay, if you guys are not going to be good trees, I'm going to turn you upside down and your roots can stick out on the top instead of your leaves.
Ew.
Doesn't it look like roots sticking out the top?
Yeah.
Now tell us about that. What's that?
This is a little basket. It's weaved and nothing inside of it.
And you can use it to put your jewelry in. You can use it to put earrings in it. Or back home they use it to put some spices in it, especially salt.
That's a really strong basket, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
It is.
So you can store whatever you want in there. From jewelry, food, anything you want.
Now tell us about these masks over here. What is this?
These are South African masks. They're made out of wood and they're painted.
Mm-hmm. And what about that little face?
I think this is a little face with a rock carved out of a rock.
Do you know who carved that rock?
No.
An artist who lives near our village in Cape Town. There's a man who lives down by Simonstown and sells them on the side of the road.
This looks like Nelson Mandela. This looks like Nelson Mandela.
So that's a face of a grandpa. If you let us see closer to the camera.
An African artist made that face. That's nice.
And those other two masks are all African masks too. What we normally use them for, we use them for decorations.
That one came from Namibia actually, which was used to be part of South Africa. And show us the other one down there.
This is the mask. It's not hollow inside, like that one, but it looks like he's closing his eyes.
You know where that one came from?
No.
Put it on your face. Show us. That one came from Ghana. It's not part of South Africa. It's another part of Africa. Okay. Now what about this big, this basket here? Can Mommy tell us what this basket is for? What do you do with it?
Well, I can tell you. This is a little basket, and it's also weaved out of the same thing as that. And I usually use it to put food in it. And you can hang it on the wall too.
It's a decoration.
As a
But
decoration.
what the tribe uses it for, it's they will put corn in here after they grind corn from kika lemo lemo. That's that. They will put corn in here, and then you have to like sift it, like to go through it and get the grind stuff in. And then once you move, there's a movement where you move it, and then everything else that's grinded will be on at the bottom, and what you don't need will be on top. Then you just scoop that and you throw out what you don't need, and you can go and cook your bap, which is cornmeal or bohobe we call it.
So it makes a nice way to win
And
it.
it also makes nice for decorations too.
And what about this one, Kabelo? What's that?
Well, this is a little pot. As Mommy said, you can put corn in it and grind it.
Does it have an African name, Mommy?
Yes, this is called kika. I don't know what the English word is, but it's called kika, K-I-K-A.
Like
And
a
this-
mortar and pestle, I think.
And this is mulemo, M-O-L-E-M-O.
Uh-huh.
In the old days, because they didn't have grinding machines to grind their corn, they used to use kika lemo to do that. So what they would do, you get bigger ones. This is just a model for decoration. You get a big ones, and you don't have to kneel down when you do your stand, where they will put a lot of corn in there, and the women have to grind it. And it takes a lot of time, and the women will have babies on their back.
So
and
that's-
this is how you grind.
So that's
There's
how.
a rhythm too. You don't just do that.
So
There's
that's how they make grits in South Africa.
Yes, that's how we make grits.
And you know, they might
Cornmeal
have,
in South
and then
Africa.
they might have put it in here and cooked it.
Yeah, when they're finished, then the water will be boiled in this pot that we call driftwood. And then once the water boils, you will scoop the cornmeal out, put it in the pot, and then you will stir. Keep scooping and stir and stir. Normally the women uses bigger pots than that. They come in sizes too.
Woohoo! Look over here. Okay, African.
This is a cup. It has feathers painted on it. And
This
that
was actually
bowl has
handmade,
fish
Kabelo.
in it. And it was handmade.
This was given to us as a gift when we left South Africa. This was made by the tribe, the sub-tribe in South Africa called the Xhosas. They love to decorate stuff, everything else they do, and their houses also, if you go into the rural areas, their houses are decorated in the same patterns as well.
And it says something on the bottom of it.
They like lots of little dots.
I think it says N.
This is the person who made it. It's NM Kobo. That's the person who made it specially for me. And I left. So, like again, things like this are too precious. I don't use them to drink tea or coffee out of them. I use them for decorations.
Okay, one last question before we wrap up. Mommy, which one of the things in front of you would you like to eat the most?
I like to eat grind corn, buhove,
What about kaka?
kaka, which is the guinea fowl. Yeah, I love the meat.
Is there anything challenging about being a member of your tribe?
Yes, this actually is. Well, the fact that I live far away from home, and I haven't seen my family in a very long time, and the reason is because it's way too expensive to go to South Africa. So I have to save a lot of money going back to see my mom and my sisters and relatives. The other thing is that the most challenging part of being a member of my tribe is because of most old people during the apartheid years didn't get a chance to go to school, so not many old people in South Africa didn't get education. And there is still people live in poverty in South Africa too. There are still people living in shacks. Shacks meaning like little houses that are built out of tin or built out of cardboards or built out of papers. Most of them live in that. And then and also what's challenging is that there are not enough jobs. Even now as I speak to you, as I talk to you now, a lot of the youth, a lot of people my age, they don't have any jobs. So yes, it's quite challenging to be a member of my tribe.
I have something challenging.
Well, tell me about you, Kabelo. Is there anything challenging about
Well,
you being a member of the South African
I
tribe?
have to live apart from my brother, and I don't get to see my grandma that much, and my cousins.
Hey Kabelo, is there anything that makes you proud and happy about being a member of the tribe? Because you are a member of the tribe. You were born in South Africa. So what makes you proud and happy about being in South Africa?
Well, it makes me feel special that I have my own language and my own tribe and stuff, and I try does different stuff and here and
And your name Kabelo seems so special. Does it have any meaning?
it means sharing is caring.
So
And what are your real names? Kabelo and?
Kabelo and Kalo.
Kabelo.
Yes,
Kabelo
that
and
Kalo is your nickname, but what are your full names? Kabelo?
Kabelo Mashudu Bauman.
Yeah.
What does Mashudu mean? Does it have any meaning?
I don't know.
yeah, you know what
It means lucky.
it means. Lucky. You see, this is how the older tribe members teach the younger members things. We talk about things like that's what the word means. Okay. And do you want to go back to South Africa and see your tribe sometime?
Yeah,
Really? How do you get back to South Africa?
you have to fly there.
And how long does it take?
A day and a night.
It takes a day and a night. It takes a long time. It's on the other side of the world from here, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. That's a long way away. That's one of the reasons why we only get to go sometimes. Anything else, guys? Makes you happy? Mommy, what makes you happy about being a member of the tribe?
Well, I was born there, and I am proud to be South African. I'm proud to belong to the Rainbow Nation, as we call it.
And you know what makes me proud? I got to add one more member to the tribe, Kabelo.
This is the story of my South African tribe. I hope you enjoyed it. And Closey, thank you.